Beautiful rainy morning here in Bogota. I want to talk about something, man. I see a lot of things on addiction forums, online, the general way people think about addiction, things like nofap, semen retention. It's all about the negative things that come from the addiction, from the bad habit, right? This thing is ruining my life. This thing's killing me. This thing has all these side effects. This thing is the reason that I'm not getting ahead, whatever. And I think what we fail to do is acknowledge the payoff that these things have, right? What is a payoff? Well, clearly, this addiction, this habit has some benefit. It's got some benefit, and that's the reason that I keep going back to it, right? Because if it didn't have any benefit to me, there's no reason that I would do it, especially given that it kind of fucks me up. So it's like pornography, great example. One of the benefits and the secret hidden payoffs of pornography is that I can feel powerful, right? Because in that hour, in that 2 hours, in that however long you use it, in that time that you're using it, in that fantasy, you feel immensely powerful. I mean, right? Like you're seeing endless beautiful women. You're seeing whatever woman you want at whatever angle you want. You're seeing you have the power to say stop or go. You cannot be rejected, and there's just an endless flow of the most beautiful women, right? And so that's a very powerful feeling inside the fantasy, and that is a hidden payoff and a hidden benefit, and one of the reasons that we engage in the habit. And so my theory here is that, I'll give you an example, man. Back in 2022, I went the longest streak, right? NoFap, all those guys love to talk about streaks. I went the longest streak of my life without using pornography. It was 6 months. And guess what? As you would expect, I felt fucking amazing. And I felt really powerful. And for the longest time, I framed it in my head as, well, I just happened to not use this behavior, this habit. And as a result of that, I felt really good. And maybe there is some neurological and physiological truth to this, because as we detox dopamine and all that, we do start to feel better. But I think the reasoning behind it was unfounded. What do I mean by that? I thought, well, as a result of discipline, being stronger, or maybe just having a more meaningful life, I simply didn't engage in this habit. And as a result of not engaging of the habit, I felt better. Whereas in reality, it actually worked in the opposite direction. It just so happened at the time, back in 2022, I was starting to build a strong sense of internal locus of control and internal personal power. When I say power, I don't mean political or financial power. I mean internal personal power, in that I get to determine my outcomes. I get to face my fears. I can handle anything that comes at me. I feel empowered, right? I'm not a victim. I'm not passive. Life's not passing me by. I have a strong internal locus of control and an ability to influence my outcomes, and whatever happens in life, I can handle it. I just so happen to have been building that like a muscle up in 2022, right? And as a result of feeling an internal sense of power, I was no longer interested on a conscious or unconscious level in engaging in a fantasy where I felt powerful. Because if I feel genuinely powerful in real life, why would I need to go to a fantasy world that makes me feel the same way? I already feel that in real life. I'm good. Okay? And here is the fallacy that many humans, myself included, engage in when we do these things. Would you expect to be able to go to the gym, build muscle? You're hitting the gym daily, 5-6 times a week. You're getting jacked. You're getting big. And then would you expect to just be able to maintain your physique for life without ever working out again? Of course not. Same thing with the mind and intellect. If you're solving problems every day, you're reading dense stuff, you're having intellectual discussions with people, your mind is pretty sharp. Would you expect to be able to just go back to scrolling on your phone and engaging in brain rot every day and maintain that sharpness? Of course not, right? But then when it comes to ways of thinking, mindset. There's a disconnect. We don't realize that it's actually the same way. And so this ties back into my previous example of back in 2022, when I built that internal sense of empowerment and internal locus of control. Well, I couldn't figure out why I felt amazing for those months, and then I went back to feeling miserable. Because in 2023, I went back to feeling miserable. And I was like, why is that? Until I realized, oh, I thought that once I built the internal sense of power and locus of control, that I would just maintain that automatically forever. But in fact, it requires maintenance just as the body, just as the intellect, right? And so if we don't practice, actively take action to practice this internal locus of control and power, it just goes away. Just as our muscles get soft as we don't go to the gym anymore, right? And so guess what happened? I wasn't maintaining or building an internal sense of power. Well, now I want to feel powerful. Porn. Beautiful solution, right? Hidden payoff. Advantage. I get to feel powerful. So I started watching porn again. And then once again, I attributed the way I felt to the habit or the addiction. Well, I just started watching porn again. And now I feel like shit. But it's like, no, let me think about, why was I not watching it for those 6 months? And then why did I begin watching? Because it's not just, oh, I just happened to watch, I just got bored. No. In those 6 months in 2022, I could be bored. I could feel rejected. I could feel all of these reasons that we go, well, you watch porn to cope with negative emotions. No, actually, in those 6 months, I had plenty of negative emotions, and I never watched porn. You watch porn to cope with stress, boredom. No, I was bored and stressed plenty of times. Why did I not watch it then? Why did I watch it later? Because before, it wasn't giving me that hidden benefit. After, it started to give me that hidden payoff and benefit again. Anyways, man, just a theory from me. I'm gonna talk more about this because I think this is a good topic. I appreciate y'all for checking in, man.